All right, Dan, let me ask you, as a prosecutor in this case, I want to show folks the actual overhead photo of the impact. And I'm wondering, does it, I mean, once the jury sees a picture like that, does it even matter if he's going 47 or 63? I mean, you see that devastation. For a case like this, does it really matter if the experts differ a little bit in the velocity of Goodman's car?
It doesn't ultimately matter if the key controversy in the case doesn't revolve around what speed he was going, whether it's 49 or 63 or somewhere in between. And those issues are, did he stop at the stop sign? Under both the defense explanation and the prosecution's explanation, he could not have stopped at the stop sign, even though he said originally that he did. So that's important. Second of all, there's the issue of, did he see the car, the Hyundai that he hit? Under the defense's theory with their expert, it's still inconceivable that he did not know that he hit another car before he left the scene. And that's what's ultimately important for the jury, not the exact speed that he was going.
And let's take a look at that animation, and if we can get the animation from the perspective of John Goodman, the driver, because I think that's the most important and most powerful one. And Ben, as a jury looks at that, is there any way, we all drive, right? This is something we can all sort of relate to. Maybe we haven't been in an accident, but is it conceivable for a jury to look at that and for John Goodman and his team to say, hey, he didn't know that he hit another car? He didn't know? He didn't even think to look?
Well, you got to keep in mind, with his level of intoxication, he could have been asleep. So he might not have known.
But because of the drinking.
Right, because of the drinking, or there's some reason why he's just gone through this stop sign. Okay, if you take somebody who's gone through a stop sign at either 58 miles an hour, 63 miles an hour, 47 miles an hour, it doesn't really matter. He's blown through a stop sign, smashes into another car, and at that point, there's something wrong that's going on inside the Bentley. He's not controlling the vehicle. He's either asleep, he's not paying attention, he's not in control of his ability to control the car. But there's some other things that aren't shown in that video as well from his perspective. You've got to keep in mind that the airbag goes off at the same time. When the airbag goes off, there's a powder or smoke that will fill up inside of the car. There's tremendous energy that's going through Mr. Goodman's body at the same time, and there's a lot going on. This is going to be a shocking event for him, so he may very well not know what happened.
Tom, how much do you trust these animations?
Well, I use the same type of animations, simulations to show. Simulations are more factually based. They're physically based. Tire frictions, cornering, mass, those types of things. Animations are something that can be manipulated to where they match just exactly what, in this case, the officer or the defense expert's opinion is. So animations are a little tougher. You can make those dance a little bit. So it's good. It's illustrative.
Yeah, from my perspective, for a jury, I mean, it puts them there. I mean, everyone wants a videotape of the alleged crime, and this is almost like creating that videotape.
It is, and it's real strong because we live in the world of television and video and audio, and so we're ingrained from the time we get our first bottle, we're put in front of a TV set. So jurors get in a box, and all of a sudden somebody brings out a big screen and starts showing what they've been talking about for 3 or 4 days. It's very strong.
You know, Dan, the other part of this is many times in a lot of these cases that I've covered through the years here on In Session, you have a defendant who's got some money, right? And it's usually the defendant with the money that can get all the bells and whistles inside the courtroom. It's actually nice to see here that the state was able to do this, was able to put together the animation and put the resources into really trying to explain from their perspective what happened at that intersection.
Yeah, I know as a prosecutor, I've definitely had battles with supervisors at times over budget, where you want to do things in a case, and sometimes it's helpful to the case, but there's not always the money, especially in these tough economic times for governments and prosecutor offices. It's very good that they're able to do this here. It's a full explanation. It shows the jury what happened, and it competes with a defendant who has basically unlimited resources at his disposal to aid in his defense.
Absolutely, and this is one of those cases where, you know, the prosecution needs to even the playing field a little bit with the defense because of John Goodman's hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, this was the prosecution expert and the way they put their case together. We're going to take you back inside the courtroom for more testimony from the defense's accident reconstruction expert. Michael Urban says even though he used the same evidence as the police, he found a different estimate for the defendant's speed at the time of the crash. Now,
Right.
Dan Schorr, former prosecutor. Dan, how would you be feeling as the prosecution if you've got your expert talking about lasers and animations and all these different points of view, and you've got the defense expert in there with wooden cars?
Well, in this case, the defendant has been painted as this out-of-touch, rich, Bentley-driving, polo-playing person who killed another individual. So in his case, it probably helps to have these little toys as exhibits rather than all the bells and whistles, because it's a little low-tech, and it helps him. But it still doesn't undermine the prosecution's case that he did not stop at the stop sign, that he had to have seen a car that he hit. And once those defense arguments are shot down, his other things that he's saying are also undermined because his credibility is shot, such as that he drank later, or, you know, that the car malfunctioned. Once two claims are shot down, and either the defense argument seems to shoot those down, the other claims also fall away.